I've been thinking about how sometimes we stop ourselves from trying, launching or doing a task because everything needs to be ready. In fact, it has to be perfect. When it's something that matters to us, we fall to safety mode and delay ourselves from starting because it can't go wrong or not be good enough if we don't say it's done. Going into 2023, I'm making an active effort to stop being a perfectionist, to stop fixating on the end result and the desire for it to be great, because in the past it has stopped me from making a start or completing. But I don't realise this is something I'm doing because I am a planner. I love to map out all the steps needed to make something or do something. I get caught up in the details, and sometimes those details strike hesitation in my heart. I say to myself, let me start that next week, or it's not good enough to share, I'll keep this one to myself. And while perfection can be helpful and create a high standard of work, it can create a journey in which we imprison ourselves and deliver the harshest punishment, never sharing with the world what we have created. Now, here are 3 things that I'm going to do to stop being a perfectionist and stop living in that reality in 2023. The first thing I'm going to do is to put a time limit on planning and information gathering. In the past, I'd get caught up in the idea that I needed a lot of time to plan, I needed a lot of time to get all the information before I even think of starting. For me, I realised that delaying was actually a form of procrastination. Rather than starting and making an effort to do the thing that I need to do, I did delay because I didn't have all the information, or I needed to plan all of the steps. But now what I'm going to do is put a time limit on that stage. I'm going to give myself 2 days to plan this and then I jump in. Or I only need 30 minutes to gather information and then I jump in. I gotta trust that I will figure it out as I go along, or just get more information once I figure out that next step once I'm doing it. The second thing that I'm gonna do, similar to the first, is to create a crap first draft. I don't know if you're like me, but I sometimes get fixated on the end product. I want it to be great. I have a vision of it in my head, but the steps to get there, or just the journey to being there, I just think, you know what, the first time that I'll do it will be perfect, so I don't need to worry. But actually, the first one is often the worst that we make. It is the crap version of what we're trying to do. But we have to get comfortable in knowing that that will be the case, and that you just have to make that version of it in order to get to the final one. And often if you're creating something, whether you're in creative, you're in the corporate world, or you're doing anything, you'll notice that many of the things that we work on, whether it is a document, a deck, it has like 3 different versions of it. Maybe even as high as 15 different versions that have existed over time. That is because each time it has been put to paper and the words have been written out, you realise where it could be improved. It's like the quote that Jodie Picoult once said: "You can always edit a bad page, but you can't edit a blank page." And that is true. So focus on creating that first rough draft that you know is going to be awful, and then trust that it will get better over time until you get to the version that you feel happy with. The last thing I'm going to do to stop being a perfectionist in 2023 is to shift my mindset and think of it as experimentation. When you're doing an experiment, you know that there's always room for failure, and that most likely you will fail many times until you finally get to the result that you've been looking for. So when I think of things as an experiment and as an opportunity to sort of figure things out, get some information to take on to the next one, I feel like it takes the pressure off it being a success the first time around. I feel like as well, when I think of it as an experiment, I leave myself open to receiving constructive criticism for other people, sharing what it is that I am making in order for it to be improved by others, and maybe they might have a different hypothesis or way of going about it that I've not thought about already. So when you think of it as an experiment and that it will improve over time and it will fail and it will go wrong, I feel like the pressure comes off. Like, you start thinking of the perfect outcome, the perfect journey, because you know it is bound to go wrong. It is that mindset that you're looking at it as, do you know what, it's going to fail, but I'm going to pick up 2 things that I didn't know before, and I can take that on to the next thing. Those are the 3 things that I'm going to do to stop being a perfectionist in 2023. I hope this list has been helpful, and honestly, when I tell you, when we feel ourselves in the shackles of perfectionism, I feel like our greatest learnings are on the other side, and we just get more into the doing rather than just talking about things. So I hope these 3 things have been helpful to you. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you can get more of my videos and stay on my journey. Thank you so much for watching.